My friends, today what I want to talk about is addiction. When this topic comes up, many people are just very quick to respond. Everyone watches. No one can get addicted to that. Would you say if we're talking about something else like food? Oh, no one can get addicted to food. Everyone eats. But then we know just from sitcoms, everyday life, let's be really stereotypical. Woman gets dumped, straight to the tub of ice cream. Let's keep the stereotypes. Man has fight with wife, goes on his phone, looks at porn, and masturbates. Kind of hard to dismiss these patterns, no? We know we could binge eat when we're stressed or feeling uncomfortable. We can binge drink. We do that. We do that with, I'm here to say yes. Sigmund Freud, good friend, good read for me. He wrote Addiction. All others are a replacement for it. What is when we really look at it? It's a form of self-soothing, isn't it? I don't feel so good right now. I want to feel a little bit better. I need a little bit of a distraction. Maybe I'm not feeling embodied, but if I then I can feel at least part of my body. I'm not stuck in my head. I get distracted from my present environment, and then I can do this thing and then maybe return to what I was doing before. But usually it's not so quick. In fact, it even keeps us distant from what we're supposed to be doing, right? Let me put it another way. You're addicted to if you're looking for a chance to be alone so you could watch other people having. Sounds different when we don't call it and we just say, I want to watch people having sex on my phone and I'm going to pull my pants down or I'm going to touch myself while doing it. Sounds very different. What about if we talk about it in terms of I can't finish my work or keep up with my plans because I have my phone in one hand and the other is too busy caring for myself to write this email, to hop in the shower, to respond to this text message. My friends are waiting for me outside in the Uber, but I'm not ready to go. Late at night, you're doom scrolling, whether it's on Instagram or I'm sure your partner doesn't feel very special while you're doing this while they're sleeping next to you. What makes this an addiction? Many things. You're living in secrecy. How many minutes, hours are wasted during your workday now that you're working from home, taking care of yourself instead of your responsibilities? With this kind of secrecy, you have to start lying to your employer, partner, those around you in life. You have to start deleting your search history on your phone so it doesn't just pop up. You start finding yourself becoming a fan of this. You start to know the characters as if you're watching, like, as if it's The Rock and you're trying to keep up with the latest Marvel movie. But no, it's just following someone have, there's no real story to it. In fact, it doesn't even really make you feel anything. The fantasy is just not enough. So then you have to start escalating. You need to start doing it more frequently because that empty feeling gets worse and worse. Not only that, you have to start watching things that you didn't think you'd be watching. Maybe start adding more violence into the imagery. Maybe the images get younger, gets more extreme because you become desensitized to watching the same repetitive action. Things become addictive when you just do the same thing out of rote without really thinking. It just appears, it just happens. And if you're with someone, you have a partner, you have a spouse, even if you don't, and you just want to go novelty Tinder, you discover that if you're male, it'd be harder to have an. It's a shocking discovery to know that people in their early 20s need more than those in their late 60s. To me, that's shocking. Hard to tell me that there's no porn epidemic. Are we that bored? We walk around believing that we're closer to one another because we can message them all the time or they're always available, or I can get my needs met 24/7, but we become increasingly disconnected from ourselves. And there's nothing we can rely on. We can't even talk about it. We're not connecting with people emotionally. We can't touch them physically because that's going to bring us even more shame because we can't perform. It just reinforces this pattern. Get more and more attached because at least when you're watching, you have a sense of control. I can search whatever I want. I can the way I want. I will self-soothe. I don't need anyone else to get my needs met. I control my device. We are under the illusion that we control technology or we have this thing under control, but really we're the ones being controlled and manipulated. Pay attention to how the industry manipulates you, how the thumbnails change based on how you touch the thumbnail, how they're testing you to keep you hooked longer. Notice how you become fixated on certain scenes and images. You do this long enough, you start walking down the streets, people, because that's all you do. You do it on your phone and you start doing it on the street. The secrecy, that's very damning to a relationship. Let's say you want to be clever and cute. Say, hey, let's start watching together. Then you come to discover that it's not your partner that you find. Maybe there's the novelty effect of, wow, it's arousing that she wants to watch this with me. Maybe you negotiate on the that you both like together. But guess what's happening? There's something in the middle between the two of you. You just invited Android in the middle. You just invited Apple in the middle. The isn't based on your love connection to the other person. It's not even really connected to the other person's presence. It's essentially saying, I'm going to use the other person to while I watch this. Instead of using my hand, I'm going to use her mouth. Yeah, that's graphic. But isn't that what addiction is? Isn't that what rock bottoming looks like? The using of the other person, the manipulating of saying, hey, everyone does this. Don't you watch it too? It's really unnerving when we're trying to normalize behaviors that are unhealthy, right? Ever since the legalization of how many more potheads are there? Obviously, I don't even know the legalities depending on where you are in this world, but it's the lack of our own standards to direct our energy elsewhere. If we go back to the beginning, I'm going to manage my stress through watching. Notice that there's a lot of power and control games in where someone's controlling the other. Sometimes it looks like some seductive role play where the pizza delivery man gets invited inside, very 70s style. Someone feeling underappreciated in life, someone not feeling their worth in life. And then in this scene, all of that goes away because there's this woman that's, in their eyes, very attractive, wants them. It's almost as if as hungry as they were for that pizza. No, that's not what they wanted. They want the person to consume them, to take over. Of course, the presentation is the man is strong and powerful. Look how attractive he is. Look at the woman that he gets. He's always overachieving in those videos, but he's weak in those videos. He's someone that is easily controlled. A wink and a smile is all it takes. A suggestion. Someone making a move, and all of a sudden in the video, that stop never happened. They just continue. That's what feel like a fantasy for sure. It's certainly a disengaging of reality. It's not the same thing as going to a movie theater, which has a high level of intentionality, often involves other people, has a beginning and end, and you're not going to repeat watching the same thing. Usually there's no hoarding going on. You're not going to go to a movie theater, watch the movie, go home and download it and keep it forever, and then just keep rewatching the same movie over and over again. If you find yourself watching the same thing over and over again, whether it's or something else, it's usually indicative of feeling out of control and the need for predictability, right? Girl gets dumped, back to stereotypical story. She eats ice cream, man in a relationship fight. They need something predictable. Of course, neither of those things make anyone feel better. They make them feel worse. This is the sad story of addiction. Sometimes the escalation of these patterns goes beyond the images. That's when it becomes more, wow, maybe I could be like that pizza delivery man. Maybe I should go cheat. That'll feel good. You know, instead of doing this thing in the fantasy fake world of I'll go try and do this other kind of fantasy, but in the real world. Sometimes becomes a gateway to these things. As we're talking stereotypes, the female addict gets very underreported. It's a behavior that is not commonly done clinically in the therapy room. Like there aren't that many women that are coming to talk about that, but it's absolutely a problem. As men come to talk about it, I get to learn about their partners or wives' experiences with their own usage. It's very fascinating for me because men get labeled negatively with usage. Sometimes women can get away with not getting the same label of betrayal. With the addiction, it creates this type of face-off a lot of the time when you're in a relationship, right? Your partner begins to wonder, who do you love more, me or your phone? Let me see your phone. If you don't give me your phone, the relationship's over. No, you can't see my phone. My phone is mine. It's private. Whatever dirty stuff I'm doing there, it's just private. It's mine. Yeah, but you'd rather have with yourself or with that person that you see online. Like, how many people are you following? Are you starting to pay for things? They have a secret account? Why am I losing this face off to fantasy? I bet I could do all the things that that person does online, but you can't. It's not about the fact, it's about the control. What does they do for you? I'm saying it harms you in ways that you can't even recognize. But the ways that I've recognized here is disconnection from self, greater emotional distance from yourself and the people you care about, productivity, dysfunction, a type of brain fog, as in you'll have decreased cognitive performance. You start becoming secretive, lying, lies by omission. Is that the person that you want to be when you open your phone? Is that the example you're trying to set? Or do we want to just sit there and say, everyone does it, therefore it's fine? No, that's a lie.